How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of
the Bride of Frankenstein. She's alive! Alive! A monster created from cadavers out of rifled graves. A tale that sent my blood into icy creeps.
Would you like to hear what happened after that?
Well, we've warned you.
You've been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that dissects the Universal Frankenstein film series minute by minute. Defying all shelter-in-place orders, I'm Thom Lang.
And I'm Bill Evenson, speaking to you behind my mandated mask. No. I just noticed, I'm sorry, I looked down at my notes and I just noticed they're completely out of order. I have something that happens at the very end.
Isn't for minute 20?
First. Yeah, something that happens, did I say what we're doing here? We're doing minute 20 of Bride of Frankenstein.
There we go. Now you know.
And late in the minute is something here that I've got first, but okay. I'll have to try and remember to go back to it.
Okay.
And so this is something that I just realized this is in my notes for this minute, and I mentioned it last minute. But he says I also have continued with my experiments, and that with everything that was cut out of minute 18, this is maybe the only indication that they worked on this stuff together. But
because he said earlier we must work together no longer as master and pupil.
Well, that's true.
That's left in.
But I also have continued with my experiments, and he also says he uses the word creation.
You must see my creation.
I mean, everybody's seen this movie, so they know what we're talking about. Yeah. He uses the it seems to me singular when what you end up seeing seems plural.
Plural.
Yeah, my creations. That's fine.
Well, I think he's saying I'll justify it this way. I'd say he's using the word creation as sort of an umbrella term for the process he used to make these beings.
So I am the father of twins, and they are my creation.
See?
Well, not just mine.
Well, you got a hand in it.
That's about it.
Yeah. Or something else in it anyway.
Well, as the case may be.
We'll not go there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the remainder of the scene pretty much plays out as written.
Yeah,
in the script.
that's true.
There's nothing that has been cut. But yeah, you must.
Well, actually, that's interesting. That's what I have is something. You're right. Never mind. Well, I'll talk about it at the end.
Towards the end of the minute, there's some differences, but this scene that we've been watching plays out till the next sequence plays out as written. Mm-hmm. Now Henry's getting more intrigued and excited.
Yeah, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, he's
have you also, or whatever he says.
He says, have you also succeeded in bringing life to the dead?
And can I just weigh in here?
Yeah.
No, he hasn't. That's not the same thing.
Right.
I don't think.
It's not the same thing.
We don't know exactly what he did.
Pretorius
we'll talk about
Pretorius doesn't
sew together parts out of
No, he doesn't, but he also doesn't correct him or specify. He says, I think you'll be interested in what I have to show you. After 20 years of
another one of those references where you can
take it a number of different
ways, yeah.
After 20 years of secret scientific research and countless failures.
I really like the countless failures, and here's what I like about it. It's kind of silly, but a lot of times when you watch a movie where a character, and older movies in particular, where a character delivers a speech that has multiple lines in it, you can just tell they've memorized it. Mm-hmm. Carrie Fisher, in her later years, would do it on stage. Have you ever seen her thing where she did on stage, where she would recite that speech from Star Wars?
Oh, right.
General Kenobi. Years ago, you fought with my father, and you served with my father in the Clone Wars, and she could still recite it. Uh-huh. Well, in the movie, it sounds like she's reciting it, because it's garbage and she doesn't have any interest in it.
Right.
But it's badly written. In this case, when he says it's countless failures, he actually moves a little bit like he's thinking about it. Yeah. When countless failures, and then he moves on.
Sort of does a little shrug or looks to the side a little bit,
Yeah, he kind of looks away, like he's countless failures. Yeah. He's actually paying attention.
Yes. Well, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
I too have created life, as we say, in God's own image. It's interesting that they left that in. Mm-hmm. But he does not verify or deny that he created life from the dead. He just has created life.
Right.
So he doesn't verify what Henry said. He just kind of blows over it. So I think is one of the reasons why in the cut dialogue he's looks down on what Henry's done as clumsy and blah, blah. I've done it this way. You farting around. Well, it comes up later. You're farting around in graves and charnel houses and wherever.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas, I did it this way.
Yep.
Which I think is why he's sort of dismissive in that cut dialogue.
Dismissive
Of what Henry's done.
Yes.
Or disdainful, maybe. More so.
Yeah,
than
I like
dismissive.
Disdainful better. Yeah, I wouldn't say dismissive because he's here.
Yeah, he acknowledged that Henry did something that's worth visiting.
Yeah, and maybe he doesn't do this at all, but it's sort of implied. It must be so spectacular that it brought him there.
Right.
Like, what does he need Henry for then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll find out because it comes up later why he needs Henry.
Oh, it comes up later. The whole point of the movie is that he and Henry are gonna create a monster that's in mostly similar to the monster that Henry created. Really?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
There's,
All right.
There's indications that it is, and there's indications that it's not.
I mean,
but
the end result that we see
is pretty much
not any particularly more impressive. She's a little more handsome.
She's a little better looking. Yeah.
She's a little better looking.
But
there's
personality wise, she's not all that different.
By this, exactly. By this point, at least, the monster might have a little bit more going on. Personality.
I think at the end of the film.
By the end of the film, so. I can't remember what point I was going to make now, but those differences that we do see spelled out are they might as well not even be there really, because I don't see that. I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't see in creating the bride as opposed to creating the monster. I suppose we've got 6 months to talk about this.
To talk about it, but he does mention, and I'll do this as a spoiler because we'll forget. But I'll forget by the time I'm in the car.
Yeah. That's true.
Pretorius does say later that he has grown a perfect brain.
Right.
So he's using some of his technique combined with Henry's.
Yep.
Because size is what Henry achieved that Pretorius is impressed by.
Right.
Another spoiler, but whatever. Odds are that most people listening have seen the film.
Yeah. And the only evidence,
if you're watching it minute by minute along with us, good for you. That's great.
That's great. Yeah. So spoilers. There's another creation scene at the end of this.
Yeah.
At the end, as opposed to the beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So it's weird for him to be so dismissive when he's coming at 2:00 in the morning.
2:00. Well, yeah.
To beg him, essentially.
Extort, beg, whatever. He's doing whatever he can. He's definitely playing to Henry's hubris.
I guess he needs Henry's resources.
I think the money and the equipment and whatnot, definitely.
So he could be dismissive of what Henry achieved, although he achieves size. We'll see.
But he created life, as we say, in God's own image. Henry gets really chuffed at that point. He's got to see this.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a minute and a half earlier, he wanted nothing whatsoever to do with the whole thing. Pretorius, creating life, any of that.
Right.
Didn't even want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Now he can't wait to see it.
And I think it would be a more consistent thing for Henry if we had all the deleted scenes included.
Yes.
Including the one from a few weeks ago where we talked about where Henry says
he had a vision.
It was in my brain and it was all that stuff. Then you'd see that Henry's still going on a sort of a roller coaster as opposed to just sort of dismissing it outright, and then suddenly he's...
We had a little bit of a moment where he's like, I dreamed of being the first to...
Well, that's true.
Give to the world the secret that God is so jealous of.
Yeah.
So it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
But
and we're gonna go there.
Yeah, we'll go.
He's gonna go with him.
Well,
it works.
It does. Well, he's gonna go with him tonight, but it works and it doesn't.
Yeah, true.
It takes a lot to get him to fully commit.
That's true.
It takes an awful lot.
It does. I mean, I'm just sitting thinking about all that it takes. There's even a point where you think he's all in, and he still doesn't want to do it, and then somebody comes over and says, "Work," which is great.
Yeah.
I'll hopefully remember that when we get to that minute. But that's what my boss does.
Work! As you're falling asleep at your desk like Henry is.
That's right. Well, now I'm working from home. But
so does Jackie do that then?
Once the screen lock comes on because I fell asleep at my desk. No, Jackie comes and does it. Yeah,
work!
That's right. Work! Okay. But yeah, this is Henry. Henry's clearly intrigued.
Yeah, and why not tonight? It's not very late. It's 2:00 in the fucking morning. It is late.
And so what does that mean? What I love about it is I wish it was even more explicitly spelled out that it's
2 o'clock
late,
in the morning.
because Pretorius probably doesn't think it's late. Because as we're going to see, what does Pretorius like to do with his time? When he is given, later in the film, he's given the opportunity to just have a ball.
Yeah.
And what he really wants to do in the middle of the night, he's... it's not very late. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. The sun isn't going to come up for a long time. Like, all he wants to do is exist at night.
No, I think it's great. I always thought
he
that
might
was really
be
funny.
a vampire.
He very well could be.
Do we see him in the daylight? Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Do we?
No way, Nate.
I don't know.
I don't
we see
think
him
we
at
do now.
times that I think are daytime, but we never see him outside.
I don't think we do. I don't think we do see him during the day.
Something to keep an eye out for.
You do that. Is it far? No, but you'll need a coat. I think that's kind of cute.
I think it's more than cute. That was the thing I put in my notes. I think it's another example of what their relationship is like and is going to be like. Because he's this guy, again, that's tempting Henry away from his marital bed, and now he's going to adopt the role of caregiver as well.
True, yeah.
Because it's in there for some reason.
Yeah, it's in the script. It's definitely there on purpose. Yeah, it wasn't an ad lib or wasn't added later.
It's also kind of funny because, he's in his...
Cape coat?
Well, no.
No, Henry's in his dressing gown.
Yeah, he's in his dressing gown. Yeah, so he's in bed.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, no, but you'll need a coat. Like, get dressed, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, clearly he does, because in the next scene he's wearing a suit.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't bother to get dressed.
That's true. It takes a while, because now you've got Henry's in a dressing gown, as you say, and
pajamas.
a cravat.
Yeah,
he's got the whole thing.
Yeah,
And he's gonna now get dressed.
He's fully dressed.
Tie a tie.
Suit and tie and everything.
Yep.
At 2 a.m.
Yeah, at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yep. So we go. Do you have anything more for that?
No, not for that scene. It's a nice little coda to the scene.
Yep. And then we go to this little street scene.
Which was clearly shot on the back lot. The same old village. Redressed a little bit. But
to a place that we assume, I don't know, his humble abode, right? He doesn't live in a castle.
He says it's a humble abode.
Yeah.
No, he clearly doesn't live in a castle. It's implied that it's probably a seedier part of town.
Right.
I think.
And it doesn't really look that way necessarily on screen, but it doesn't look... It doesn't not look that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't. He just lives on an ordinary street.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be key as we're going forward, is looking at what living conditions he's in as opposed to what Henry is in.
Well, I think it speaks to then what resources each of them have access to.
Right.
Which, again, goes back to why Pretorius needs Henry.
And it's spelled out in the script. We're going to talk about this more next week.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because we're doing our final episode of the day.
Yeah.
But you know this. In the next week, there's some stuff in the script that makes it very explicit.
Yeah.
And we'll watch the minutes and we'll see.
We'll see. But not in the script is some dialogue.
Okay.
A line that Pretorius says, I think your coachman had better wait here.
Yeah.
And I never really gave it much thought until just now when we watched it.
Nice.
And he probably wants the coachman to wait there rather than come inside and see what he's about to show Henry. I always thought, he better wait here because you'll be leaving soon. But no, I think it's...
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's more like, he doesn't need to see this.
Yeah, we don't need any more prying eyes, to quote a
To
film
quote-
that I've seen before.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up the coachman, because the coachman, do you know who played the coachman?
I don't.
Peter Cushing. No, I'm kidding, but he really looks like
He does
Peter Cushing.
He does look like
And
Cushing.
it's funny, so I looked up Peter Cushing just to see, was he in town? Was he around? Peter Cushing's first film role, do you know what it was?
I think so, but go ahead.
James Whale's Man in the Iron Mask in 1939.
Yep.
So 4 years earlier, maybe he played the coachman in Bride of Frankenstein. Of course, there are many interviews with... I don't think did I ever tell you I watched those videos you sent me of Peter Cushing
and Christopher Lee the last time they hung out together?
Yeah, that's really good.
It's
Because
great.
Christopher Lee is charming and Peter Cushing adores him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Well, you know the story that they would talk on the phone for hours.
No.
And they would do Looney Tunes voices back and forth. I've heard it from both of them in different things, so I know it's true. And actually, that's where they struck up their friendship on the set of Curse of Frankenstein.
Wow!
And it lasted till the end of Cushing's life. They were, really tight. And,
so the videos that you were talking about, by that point, Cushing comes off as kind of really old.
It was shortly before he died. It was like a year or less before he died.
And it's funny when you watch watch these movies, it's easy sometimes to forget how big that age difference was.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, it's got to be 20 years between them, I think.
Yeah,
Not that much.
I don't know if it's that much, but there was.
But I feel like one of the things that's interesting about the Hammer films generally is that Peter Cushing is the big star.
The star, yeah.
Or at least the Frankenstein's ones for sure.
Oh, definitely.
And he's an older guy. He's not 25 in
Right.
Curse of Frankenstein. He's 40 or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, he was in James Whale's Man in the Iron Mask in 1939. So,
or 1939, yeah. He's
Yeah.
also in, I think one of his earlier films is Chump at Oxford with Laurel and Hardy.
that's what you thought I was going to say?
Oh, no, I knew it was. I knew it was Man there.
Is he? I haven't seen it. Is he in it?
Yeah, he's in it.
Big enough role that you go, oh, look at that, it's Peter Cushing.
You recognize him. Yeah.
Okay.
He's not a big role, no, not at all, but you recognize that it's Peter Cushing.
That's cool. I gotta watch
Or you think, is that Peter Cushing?
Yeah, like this. The coachman looks a lot to me like Peter Cushing. Okay, so then a thing that's in the script that doesn't happen in the movie. And we could have talked about this next week, but I'm going to do it now.
Okay.
So the script says, Dr. You checking your watch?
No, I just got a text.
Oh, okay. The script says, Dr. Pretorius raps on the door with his stick. Maybe this is more for next week.
This is more of a next week thing.
Well, I'm doing it.
Do it, fuck it.
Dr. Pretorius raps on the door with his stick, and after a tramping of distant feet, jingling of keys, and much noise of sliding bolts, the door is opened by a small, thin, scrawny man with a villainous face, who mutters curtly in a rasping, bird-like voice as he admits the visitors. So there you go. That's something that doesn't happen next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that is more suited to next week. But
well, it's kind of in between.
Thank you. It's in between.
It's betwixt minutes.
It's betwixt minutes.
Well, and I think it's Carl that's being referenced there.
Do you?
I think so, because his part was bigger.
Okay.
Well, actually, there was two parts that were combined when Fry was cast.
Well, see, maybe I need to go through the script and pay more close attention.
I think
I'm doing a podcast about this movie.
Are you? Well, you should check into that
because
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know.
Do that.
Maybe you could be on the podcast.
All right. Yeah. Cool. That'd be great. That'd
do
be
it
awesome.
together.
That'd be awesome.
Never thought of that.
Yeah. In the two novelizations, that's still there, and it's played out a little more elaborately.
Okay. Carl works for.
Well, they changed names around for some reason to like Fritz and Hans and things for what. It gets very confusing, especially if you read them back to back, and then read the script, and then you're watching the movie.
Forget about the movie.
Yeah. In the 36 novelization, the Carl /Hans /Fritz, whatever he is, it sort of ends up being the hero in the end, and it's very strange. He gets this big, elaborate backstory, whereas a lot of the stuff from the movie is just sort of perfunctorily dealt with.
How could there be a hero in this story? Unless I guess he.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything with that because I was going to talk. I'll talk about it in 6-8 months or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
whatever it is. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's very strange in both. Actually, the one that you have too, it's a little more dealt with, and they describe Pretorius's dwelling, or his humble abode, differently. Well, in more detail, definitely, but differently than how it appears in the film.
Okay, and there you go. Yep. Nice segue to next week.
There we go.
Next week is all about the humble abode.
Well, a few other things.
There's a couple other things that's important.
Yeah. Anything you need to add before we sign off?
Sign off.
No Patreon thing, or
I think people have heard about the Patreon by now.
They're sick to death of the fucking thing.
No, I love it. I can't get enough of it myself. If you just go to Patreon, so it's the word patron but with an E in it. So it's Patreon. Is that a word, or is that just what they...
I think it's the website name.
They just decided to name it something.
Yeah.
They thought they'd use the word patron and then put an E in it.
Sure.
Okay. .com/Frankenstein Minute.
Because you Google it, that's what comes up.
What?
Patreon.
If you Google Patreon, that's the only thing there is?
Well, it's certainly the first thing.
Okay.
I didn't look beyond that because
maybe it's the French word. Well, but patron is probably already a French word.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
But what a thing to want to be, a patron. Isn't that? This sounds great.
Yeah, it is. I'm a patron of the arts.
Exactly.
For as little as $2 a month, you too can be a patron.
Did you say $2 a month?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah. And I know that because it pops up on my phone every time it comes out of our...
That's right.
Yeah.
No, it's a big moment.
Yeah, it is. Oh, look, we're a patron. Look, honey.
Yep.
God. I think that's enough.
Ran out of steam.
Yeah, pretty much.
With all